Hello everyone, Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Back now with a brand new pack. So I've got packs 44 to 48 I think it is. And all come this afternoon in a box. And we've also got another of the storage boxes for the magazines. So here we go, we've got one there and we've just started a new box. You can get 40 in one. But whether you need to or not, I don't know, because I've got a mountain of those things now. So here we are now with pack 44. I thought I'd put this out so that you've got a little Saturday car video, because as you know, we had the very long series on the Poker Lamborghini, and that went out every Saturday evening. I've now got the Poker Porsche 917, but I'm not allowed to start making videos on it until it's actually on general sale. And as far as I know, it's not on general sale yet, so I can't put any videos out on it. I may actually start working on it very soon just to get a bit ahead, but as for now, I can't do anything. So this is pack 44 now of this beautiful 1/6 scale Mustang from DeAgostini. So as usual, have a look in the magazine first. So you've got all the information here about where you can get information from, all your customer services points there. So we're going into here, we're starting in Death Valley. I have actually stuck a toe into Death Valley, and I can assure you it is very hot. But I didn't go right through, but I have been there. Yeah, record air temperature of 56.7 degrees centigrade. That's air temperature, not tarmac, that's air temperature. So that was in 1913. The debilitating heat and the size of the valley, 140 miles long and 8 to 24 kilometers wide, have always severely tested the people and vehicles venturing through it. So yeah, you need something special to get through that. You can see here, entrance to Death Valley National Monument. So I think that's where I went. I can't remember. I've done 39 states in America. I've been all over the place. And here's a replica of the National Model E50, the car originally built to go through Death Valley. So wow, that must have been something special. Notice the great big roof to keep the sun off you as well. They didn't have aircon in those days. And there we've got the there's a great big Jeep. Now I'm not sure how old this is, but now we've got Fiat owned Jeep, of course, Fiat owned Mopar, and I know the Jeeps we get in this country, they look like this, look like that bodywork, but I don't think we get that engine. That's a 470 horsepower 6.4 litre V8. We don't get, we get a poxy little 2 litre diesel, I think, mated to a 97 speed auto. It seems to be the way everything's going now. And then over the pages, we've seen the build we got going, and here we are, Ford GT Roadsters. 5 of the 12 Ford GT prototypes created by Ford Advanced Vehicles in Slough, UK, had a Roadster body without a roof and with conventional doors. Only one of them ever raced 24 hours in Le Mans, and there's one there, and it's been restored, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So you can see it in there with that beautiful blue colour, which we know so well from the Ford GT40. And then you can see one here. This is the GT110 when it was Bruce McLaren's hands before being reconfigured. Its differences from the other Roadsters can't be seen. Very good looking car. There's a beauty there, looking very low slung. And then here we've got another one. The original Ford GT Roadsters that participate in some historic car races are faithful replicas of the original model. There's lots of, most of the GT40s you see these days are replicas. So of the 5 Ford GT Roadsters built in the UK between 64 and 65, only 2 have survived to this day. That's a bit like the Lotus Cortina, isn't it? Of the 500 built, only 850 survive today. Yeah, anyway. Right, so if you remember, back in pack 43, okay, we added, remember guys, try and avoid picking your model up like this, okay? You're putting a lot of strain on these screws here, so best to pick it up like that, okay? You can carry it, use that as a handle, so but there we go. I'd avoid picking it up like that, because obviously it's going to get some bodywork on it which is going to support it, but at the moment when you pick it up here, you're putting all that weight pivoting on these 4 little screws here, and they may rip out. So that's what we added in pack 43, that great big piece of floor there. So now we've got a great big car and a magazine to look at. So now what we've got to do is have a look at what we've got in pack 44. Got it over here. So we'll get this bag open. There we go. And we can take out this large floor section, and we've got some bits and bobs and some screws. in here. So I'm going to slide this card over to one side a minute so we can have a look in here. So we've got a little plastic bag with some mechanical parts in it. Then we've got some screws. So these are our DSO2s. Just thought I haven't even got a screwdriver out, Mr. Prepared. These are the PS11s. So I'm going to keep them in their bags so they keep them identified, even though I've cut the number off of that one. And then this one is the PS14. So there we go. So I'll keep those in their bags. I know what the DSO2s look like because they're the only metal screws we got. So those bags could go in the bin. And I'm going to get a screwdriver out. There we go. Right. So we have all our parts. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. Yes. We have 2 PS11s. Yes. 2 PS14s. Yes. So we have here, we have this little piece of mechanism. What's that? 44B. Parking brake line. And then 44C is a parking brake hook. Interesting. So we've got detail underneath the car, have we? Okay, so first things first, retrieve the chassis assembly you worked on in the previous issue. Here. And identify the attachment points of the intermediate chassis center cover. Here. Chassis center cover that line up the corresponding holes in the intermediate chassis 43A. Fit the cover into position as shown in the circular picture. So they're telling you to plonk that in. And then we've got to attach it. So we got once the center cover of the intermediate chassis is in place, secure the parts together with screws as shown. Use the DSO2 screws, so they're the die-cast screws. So we've got 2 there, we've got 2 down the side here and 2 across the front. There's nothing on this side, funnily enough. So what we're going to do is actually tap these holes. Now I've tapped 4 of them already. Okay, I'm going to put that magazine then over the way. I've got an M2.3 tap here. I'm just going to quickly cover this tapping. I've already tapped that one, that one, that one and that one. So these 2 here I haven't done. So it's an M2.3 tap, and you can see we've talked about this before. I've ground the underway. Now we're away from the magazine. I'll put the overhead light on. So I'm going to go into there and just go 1 turn forward, half a turn back. Okay, and that's just cutting a thread in there so you can basically screw your screws in easily without having to grunch them in. Okay, and the reason you go forward and back is to break the swarf. If you can imagine, every one of these slots on this tap is like a cutting edge. So as you cut, it's cutting a spiral of material. When you turn it back, it breaks it off. If you just keep going, you end up with a load of spirals, like a load of wires, and it clogs the tap up and it can mess up the thread. So what you do, as I've just shown you here, you go 1 turn in, half a turn back, 1 turn in, half a turn back, 1 turn in, half a turn back, just like that. And it breaks all the swarf up. And in a minute, because I haven't cleaned out the other holes, I'm going to turn it over and I'll show you what comes out of these holes. And this is the metal we're actually cutting out of this chassis. Remember, you don't tap threads in plastic parts, you only tap threads in metal parts. Okay, and I use a pin vise rather than a tap wrench for 2 reasons. It's easier to keep it central, and it's easier because when you get to the bottom, the tap will spin in the pin vise. With a tap wrench, you can snap the tap or mess up the thread or whatever. Now we can see here we've got a nice clean mat. Okay, I'm going to turn this over. There's me picking it up just like I told you not to. Okay, come in. There we go. And now you can see we've got some hasn't come out. So I'm going to give it a there we go, that's better. So now you can see we've got all that metal swarf. Here I am picking the model up exactly like I told you not to. And I'm going to grab my little T-hoo vacuum. And we can vacuum up our mess. Just like so. There we go. Right. There we are. So now we can get back to the build. So we can put our model on the bench here, make sure it's looking in the middle. The wheels are falling off the end of the bench, so there we go. Right, so this floor piece is going to drop onto here. So we've got 2 holes there, 2 holes there, 2 holes there that are going to line up with all those holes we've just tapped. So there we go, so that's gone down beautifully. So they're sitting over those posts. These here are just slots. So there we are. So we'll grab a DSO2 screw. So because this is all located, I'm actually going to go on and put these screws in and tighten them. Okay, now normally I would go round, put all the screws in and then tighten at the end, but because this is all sitting, it's like a circle sitting over a post, it can't move anywhere. There's no way it can move, so there's no need to worry about going round and tightening diagonally and everything. And also because it's plastic, it will deflect anyway, so we can screw that on. Don't go over tightening the screws, otherwise you'll crack the plastic. You could put a drop of thread lock on if you want to, but there's no need, because it's not a, if it was a working model I would suggest using thread lock, or if it's a pivoting part so you're leaving the screw loose like I did on the Lamborghini, then use thread lock. But for something like this, which is just a display model, you don't need it. Okay, so that's that all gone together. There you go, just got a quick check they're all nipped up. It's good practice to do that. Okay, so that's our centre floor section in. So that's filled in that great big hole. Now, turn the chassis assembly over, identify the pin on the parking brake line 44B. So I'm guessing that's the pin there. And the hole in the underside of the intermediate chassis centre cover that it fits into. Place the parking brake line in position as shown in the centre circular picture, then turn the assembly over again, and from the top fix the line in place with a PS14 screw. So I've got a PS14 screw there. So what we're going to do here, okay, so it's asking us to put the chassis upside down, but we've got to be very careful of this filler neck. So I'm going to turn it over, place it down. It actually sits on the wheel arches, so that's okay. So that filler neck is now protected. Now, what they're asking us to do here is to fit this hang on. This is a bit weird. This is the other way round. Okay. Right, okay, so that's what it is. It's showing it that way because they're swiveling it in. You can see I'm confused because here they're showing you in the magazine, there it is, and it's like upside down. So what we're going to do, we're going to pop it over, and that pin is going to go into that hole there. Alright, and then this part here is going to go into that hole there. So that pin's going into there, and that is going into there. So I'm going to turn that over, that's going into there. So now we can turn the model, we keep our finger on there, turn the model over onto its side. Okay, hold that there. I should have put this screw on the screwdriver. And now I'm going to put that screw in that hole, which is going to be difficult. There we go, got it. We can just nip that up. Again, remember this is going into plastic, guys, so don't go graunching it up. There we are. And that will hold that in place. We could have actually fitted that before we fitted it to the car. So that would have been a lot easier than trying to handle the car just to have that piece of plastic in your hand. So perhaps do step 44.3 before you do 2. Finally, press the protrusion on one end of the parking brake hook 44C into its hole in the underside of the chassis. Note that the protrusion and hole are shaped so that the hook is aligned correctly on when fitted as shown in the picture. So this is going to press into that hole there. So we've got like a keyhole type thing, and we've got a square on there. So that is going to go into there and just press in, I guess, is it? Just use the end of this flat on the screwdriver to press it in. Yep, that's pressing in, and that's staying there on its own. So quite what all this is going to be for, I do not know. It's for a handbrake cable, but I guess we're going to fit the handbrake cables there. It would have been easier to fit the handbrake cables when the wheels were off, wouldn't it? We can always take the wheels off to fit them. Right, so this is what the chassis looks like when this assembly phase is completed, with the intermediate chassis centre cover, parking brake line and parking brake hook installed. There we go. So hope you enjoyed that little bit, guys. There was something I missed. I was just looking to see why we had those PS11 screws, and here we have a little hole there, and this is going into plastic, so it's not tapping, and we need to be careful not to over tighten it because it is extremely short. So there we go, that's giving us a helping hand with that, so we should be okay to pick it up like that now. So we've got something there supporting that, so it's not all just trying to snap off. That's under compression and that's under tension when you lift it now, rather than a twisting motion. Right, let's have a look at pack 45. I'll tell you what, guys, we won't have a look at pack 45 because it's Saturday night and I want to go out and I want to get this video up for you tonight. So I'm going to, I didn't go out last night. I was on with, well, not on, I was in the chat with John Allen. So there we go. So that is pack 44, all done. So we've got our screws in there. Don't forget that one like I did. And yeah, pack 45, we're going to be looking at the prop shaft. So we're going to be turning her over again. And yeah, it's by the end of this little series of videos, we will have the full length of the car as well, which will be quite shocking. So anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you all very, very soon for pack 45. Bye for now. Oh, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and you'll get to know when I'm making another video. And if you want to find out more about this model and getting yourself one, get on the link down in the description down below. Go and have a look, see what you think. Bye for now.